A breaking news exclusive now coming into the Situation Room. Watch this. The United Kingdom is suspending, listen to this, suspending some of its intelligence sharing with the U.S. because of the Trump administration's strikes against alleged drug boats in the Caribbean.
We are joined now by senior White House reporter Kevin Liptak and CNN national security correspondent Natasha Bertrand. Natasha, to you first with this exclusive reporting. I mean, this is a big deal. The UK is arguably the closest ally to the United States when it comes to intelligence sharing. What else do we know?
Yeah, Pam, it's a really significant rupture here. Essentially, what we're learning is that the UK is no longer sharing intelligence with the US about these suspected drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean because it does not want to be complicit in the US military's strikes on these drug vessels and believes fundamentally that the US military's use of force against these vessels violates international law, according to multiple sources that we spoke to. Now, previously, the UK had been happy to help the United States locate and interdict vessels that were transiting the Caribbean that appeared to be trafficking drugs. But the key difference, of course, is that it was helping the Coast Guard intercept those vessels, arrest those on board, seize the drugs, and allowing these individuals to have some semblance of due process. But now the U.S., of course, has started striking these boats unilaterally with military force, killing everyone on board. The total now for number of people killed is around 76. And we're told that the UK is deeply uncomfortable with that, and they believe that it is pretty blatantly illegal. Now, it is unclear exactly how long this intelligence sharing suspension is going to last, but we're told that it has been going on for well over a month now, essentially since the US began its bombing campaign. And it really underscores the continued questions surrounding the legality of this US military campaign, which, of course, the US government, the Trump administration, has insisted is part of an armed conflict that it is waging against cartel members and criminal organizations. But much of the international community, as well as legal experts inside the U.S., do not see it that way.
Stand by, Natasha. I want to bring in our White House reporter, Kevin Liptak. How is the Trump administration responding to this extraordinary move by the United Kingdom?
Yeah, and in Natasha's reporting, it's clear that the White House hasn't commented on this particular suspension, but it's clear that the administration has not been deterred in this strategy so far. You know, the president and top officials have insisted that these boats are ferrying drugs and that the intelligence bears that out, and you have seen them over and over again target these boats in the Caribbean Sea, you know, multiple times per week. Now, this question of the intelligence is not necessarily a new one. You've heard a real outcry from members of Congress at what was initially a relatively slow pace in delivering them briefings on what the rationale for these actions were. You have seen that ramp up over the last few weeks, but Democrats at least have not been convinced. You know, they've emerged from these briefings saying that the intelligence was relatively thin and sort of firm in their view that the administration's actions are illegal. I think this will also raise some questions about what the U.S.-UK relationship is and where precisely it stands. You know, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has spent a lot of time trying to maintain a relationship with President Trump, trying not to upend what is, you know, the quote special relationship. And we should note this comes at another moment of tension between the U.S. and the U.K. as the president sues the BBC for allegedly doctoring an interview that aired on the Panorama program. And so you do see those tensions building there as well. You know, the president has raised in the past the prospect that the campaign in Venezuela could potentially expand to land strikes in that country. He hasn't made a decision on that front yet. He has offered somewhat contradictory views. He told 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago that he did not think that that would happen. But clearly the U.S. is engaging in this massive military buildup in the region. Now, with the revelation that the U.K. has suspended intelligence sharing, it all leaves open the question of where potentially this is all leading.
Yeah, some very serious questions now. Natasha Bertrand, Kevin Liptak, thank you so much. Big deal.
And let's get some analysis right now. Joining us, CNN military analyst, retired Colonel Cedric Leighton. Colonel Leighton, thanks so much for joining us. Based on my experience, this marks a very significant break from the U.S.'s closest ally, Britain, an intelligence sharing partner. I don't remember a time when Britain has publicly announced it was suspending intelligence cooperation in a certain area because it suspects what the U.S. is doing was illegal. Are you surprised?
Oh yes, I'm surprised that it has come to this stage right here, but I'm not surprised with the British action, Wolf. The British relationship, the intelligence sharing relationship that we have with the Brits, really goes back all the way to World War II, and even before that to some extent. So this is a very significant break in that relationship. It's part of the Five Eyes program, basically a bunch of countries, including the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United States, all working together. And basically what they've done is they've split up the world in different areas, and they use resources. In essence, it's a resource sharing arrangement plus an intelligence sharing arrangement. And it's particularly noteworthy within the realm of signals intelligence, but it also goes into the realm of human intelligence and other technical intelligence disciplines. So this is very significant because the British have a very robust intelligence capability. That intelligence capability extends into the Caribbean. A lot of British territories, as Natasha reports, are part of this. They have intelligence sites in those territories, and they provide basically a clearer picture of the types of events that are going on in the Caribbean and in the adjacent waters. So this lack of intelligence support from Britain is going to have a significant impact on the accuracy of the intelligence that the U.S. uses in prosecuting the so-called war on drugs. So this is a major, major issue.
Do you remember a time when the UK has accused the U.S. of violating international law?
No, I know that elements within UK society have made those accusations going back to certain operations back in the 1980s, and they were also, of course, opposed to Reagan's deployment of missiles back in the 80s to get the Soviets to back down. But that was never the position of the British government. The British government always ensured that there was a robust intelligence sharing architecture. During the Cold War, we had a massive exchange of data with the Brits in Eastern Europe. We also worked with them extensively in both the Iraq War and the Afghanistan conflict. So the relationship with Britain was always very, very solid, and was basically as if they were an extension of us and we were an extension of them. And it was one of those operations, one of those relationships really, that allowed us to have the type of robust intelligence collection efforts that allowed us to ensure our security after 9/11. Was also a major effort on the part of Britain to really help us in a lot of the conflicts that ensued as a result of the war on terror. So this is a significant blow, and what it could also portend, Wolf, is it could portend other countries pulling their intelligence support from us, not only in the Caribbean, but in other areas of the world as well.
Yeah.
That would certainly be a troubling development. All right, Colonel Cedric Leighton, thank you.